Hi everyone, Kurt here at Pine Ridge Ford. I thought I'd take a minute today and talk a little bit about trade values and whether it makes sense to trade or sell your own vehicle. Now, of course, I'm wearing my Hawaii shirt because we've got our trip for two to Hawaii right now with the purchase of any new vehicle, grade A or grade B used vehicle or new RV. So definitely take advantage of that and use my shirt as your kind of reminder that we do have a few trips left. We've only got probably 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks left of actually being able to get those trips done and accounted for. So you better hurry in and get a chance to go to Hawaii for a hosted trip for myself and my wife to host you at the Sheraton Kona on the Big Island. So anyways, I'll get right down to it. I got lots of information to try to go through here real quickly today and the difference between trading or selling the vehicle yourself. So let's look at that. Hopefully I can get through this really quickly. I've put a few things up on the board here that we quickly want to run through. So here's the deal. I've had this question asked me before. Is it better to trade my vehicle or better to sell my vehicle? Where am I in a better position? Well, financially, I would tell you that most of the time you're in a better position if you sell it yourself versus trading it. But let me tell you why and why people do actually trade at the end of the day versus selling it. Okay, there's a few different reasons. But first of all, the one thing we look at is the market. The market basically means is what will the market bear from a supply and demand perspective for that particular trade-in. Now, assuming that the preparation that I've got, the second thing here, is done the same, that's equal. In other words, that the maintenance is brought up to date, and outstanding issues are taken care of, some of those things that happen are brought up to date, then the market is the market. So when I look at the difference between trading and selling, those are the same. So these are the same. So the trade, or whether you sell, the market is the market. Okay? So that doesn't change. Now, the preparation, however, may be different depending on how much time and effort we put into selling it. But here's the thing. If the preparation isn't done the same, then the market is not the same. For example, if you were buying a vehicle, right, and the tires were basically worn out, you wouldn't pay the same for that vehicle if the exact same vehicle had brand new tires on it. So that's what we're talking about, preparation. So if the preparation is the same, then the market is the same. So this has a caveat to it, or an asterisk, right, to say that if they're going to sell the same in the marketplace, then the preparation also needs to be the same. And what I mean by that is, are the brakes new? Are the tires in good shape? Is the body damaged? Is the windshield replaced? Some of those things. As long as that preparation is the same, then the market's the same regardless of who's selling it. There is one little maybe caveat to that is that from a dealership perspective, we have by law, we have to go through a safety inspection and sell the vehicle safe. Now, if you were selling the vehicle yourself out, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it because there's going to come into some other play where you might have some comebacks or some challenges. But that's the price is the price. All right, so the next thing is advertising. So it doesn't matter whatever dealership it is. It doesn't matter what they show you on paper for your trade value. It doesn't matter that kind of stuff because at the end of the day, they have to go by the market. What is the market? What expenses do I have to deduct from that? And how much money do I have to make? So as an example, I've got the market. I've got my preparation, which we would call reconditioning. And there's an inspection, a clean, maybe some tires, maybe windshields, some things like that. Those are some costs involved. The advertising, what's going to take for me to advertise and market that thing? Well, I would say that it's probably maybe a little bit more expensive to advertise it from the dealership perspective than it is from a personal perspective, because a personal perspective, you can get away with putting it out at Kijiji or maybe even classified for free. And unfortunately, because we're a commercial entity, we don't get to do any of that stuff for free. So the advertising is probably a little bit more expensive on the dealership side. Then we have sales expense on our side. So there's really no sales expense on the other side, so we have a couple of dollars here that are paid. We got to pay the salesperson. Maybe we've got to do some striping or some different things that happen in order to make that work. It's a little expensive here, and this could be zero, depending on, again, what you're doing to sell that vehicle. Now, profit. Does the dealership need to make some profit? Yes, of course. The dealership has to make some profit. It's not a not-for-profit organization. It doesn't say that anywhere in any dealership in the world. Right, we are here for profit. And why are we here for profit? Because we have people to feed, families to feed, and we want to try to get a return on our investment. And it's just the same as anybody else. We have money to invest, we're trying to get a return. So we need a profit in order to do that. Now, here's where the thing kind of changes. Do you need a profit? Well, not necessarily if you're selling yourself. That profit is something you're going to get versus a dealership. So at this point in time, it's looking like that it's by all means better to sell than it is to trade. And you know what? And I'm with you on that. And if you have the opportunity to sell it without any hiccups, then I would do that. But here's where the challenge comes in. A lien. If you have a vehicle that you're selling or trading, the lien has to be taken care of before the next customer can actually take possession of that vehicle. oftentimes what happens is in the marketplace is the lien is higher than the actual value or the market value. And that's just because the payment plan has not been set up to go with the depreciation of the vehicle. So what happens is that when you go to sell it, you might have to come up with cash in order to sell it. So let's say, for example, I'll just use some crazy numbers. Let's say the vehicle that you're selling sells for $20,000 and the lien is $24,000. Then you, in order to sell it to the next customer, actually have to come up with $4,000 cash in order to sell the vehicle. So if cash is not an issue, then not a big deal. So there could be an advantage here from the dealership perspective, because on the lien side, we have the ability to roll the lien into the new loan. You're still paying for it, but the lien goes into the new one, so you don't have to come up with the cash. So there's a bit of an advantage here. Now there's another advantage that happens on the trade-in side, is that there is a rebate for taxes on the trade if you trade it, and this doesn't exist here. There is no rebate. So in other words, what I'm saying is that if you buy a new vehicle and you're trading the vehicle in, you're only paying tax on the difference. So in Saskatchewan, it ends up being 11%. If the vehicle was $20,000 as an example, right, that's a substantial amount of money that oftentimes covers over the profit that the dealership may have to build in. Now here's another thing, peace of mind, right? Now peace of mind, you trade it in a dealership, well, that's 100%. Here on the sell, well, that's a question mark. You might get off easy, you might have no problems whatsoever, but you have the challenge of if you sell it and there's something goes wrong, then that person is potentially coming back to you. The other challenge on the peace of mind is that do you have the time and energy to actually sell it? Do you want to take the risk of maybe meeting some characters that you don't want to meet? Or the risk of them potentially giving you payment that you can't potentially verify? So there are quite a few risks involved with the sell versus the trade. Here's the interesting part about it. With the taxes and the dealership's ability to advertise and market, right? All too often, the amount that you would actually trade the vehicle in for less than what you'd sell it isn't a drastic difference. So it's kind of like this. If you were a person that would be willing and go through all the headache and hassle to sell your house, as an example, then you're more than likely going to be the same type of person who would like to sell your own vehicle. If you say, hey, listen, I'm not a salesperson, I don't want to deal with trying to selling, I don't want to deal with all that kind of stuff, I'm going to actually have somebody and hire a real estate agent to list or sell my house, then that's likely a person that you're willing to trade. If you don't have cash for a lien, then you almost have to trade if you want to get a new vehicle, right? So I'm not saying from a financial perspective that the trade is always going to be the best way. Sometimes it will be based on the rebates for the taxes. That alone, if the vehicle's expensive enough, is to cover over the profit that the dealership has to make when they go to sell it. The interesting thing about this is it does not matter what dealership you're trading into. They have to take into consideration all of these factors when they're taking that vehicle in on trade. They can't. They must do this. Otherwise, they're working for zero, and I haven't seen one yet that wants to work for zero. This is what has to happen. So, should you trade or should you sell? It's 100% entirely up to you. If you want me to give you some information about that so I can break the exact numbers down for you, I'd be happy to do it. I could show you what it would take to recondition and what the market would be for your particular vehicle, give you a market evaluation on that, and you can decide whether it makes sense for you to sell it or whether it makes sense for you to trade it. Because at the end of the day, the net cost is what's going to actually determine whether it makes sense for you to do the work of selling it or allowing us to do the work of selling it. Either way, the vehicle has to get sold. It just has to get sold by someone, either by yourself or by us. Anyway, so hopefully that's been a help. If you have so many questions about that, by all means, message me or call me. I'd be happy to run through that with you. You can reach us at the dealership here, 1-800-667-3210. Of course, you can hit us up on Facebook, at PineRidgeFord.com, the Facebook, or you can contact us through the website, whatever you want. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us. I'd be happy to help you out with that. Because from the end of the day, from my perspective, whether I take a vehicle in on trade or whether you sell one without a trade, it doesn't matter to me. I would just love to get the opportunity to potentially help you with your vehicle needs. And in this point in time, also have you join me in Hawaii and join myself and my wife for the hosted trip to Kona on the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, over and out. It's been great spending some time with you today. Hopefully you found this helpful. We'll talk to you soon.